You're now listening to From the Jump.
Welcome to From the Jump, your source for all things hip-hop. I'm Syllable, and this is my co-host,
Mr. White.
Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment below saying, I subscribed, and we'll try our best to reply to your comment. We're here to talk about Cordae's sophomore album, A Bird's Eye View. If you haven't had a chance to peep it out, definitely do so. Definitely take a look at our other album reaction playlist. We got a bunch of great hits on you there, from Nas's Magic to The Weeknd's Don FM. So check out what we've already done so far. Comment, like, and subscribe below. Now, coming out off the bat, I'm going to say this album is definitely a masterpiece. I really like it. It's one of those things where we're actually hearkening from an earlier era style. Cordae is bringing the 90s back to the forefront in the 2022s, and I like it. It's sounding dope.
Yeah, he's preferencing lyricism and having a style that is more conducive of rapping longer over beats, not necessarily doing a lot of melodic stuff on here. And he's very confident in his ability to be an MC. And that's something that is definitely a change of pace for what you see nowadays. Him being 24, definitely not expected.
Starting off this whole project, we got Shiloh's intro, and it's some rapping over there. It's kind of scratchy sounding, and I didn't really have anything to say about that. But then we jump into Jean-Michel popping up for the first track. I don't know if he says it in that kind of accented way, Jean-Michel, but that's Jean Grey, X-Men. So that's the first track popping off. Some of the lyrics that I like that are dope popping off there when we got Cordae coming off saying, brink of extinction, hellbent on survival. This life's a continuous cycle. Consider this a venomous haiku, right? And so then he starts talking about current events, talking about politicians, saying politicians out here lying, trying to sell a message. 10,000 hours, penmanship is well perfected. And so we can see with that, he's starting off with that 10,000 hours or 10 years that it's said that will take to create a master and something. Now, we also heard that in Nas's albums, right? In the most recent albums, Nas dropped a reference as well to the 10,000 hour rule of becoming a master.
So it's very interesting that he's using some of these age-old adages that are very similar to artists that we're familiar with in this age, like J. Cole, Kendrick. We already talked about Nas. We reviewed him recently, and he favors those artists a lot. He's not afraid to take from people that are his influences. And he's being an MC. He's being lyrical. He's dropping bars. He has great content here coming in with this first track. And it's setting the tone really well.
One of the things that you get right immediately up from the jump is you hear that he's setting this tone of a nostalgic, reflective bars when he's talking about things I could have done better. It lies in my conscience and I'll never forget it. I'm my worst critic. What's the next track that we got, Mr. White, coming up for track number 3?
So we got him coming in with Super. This is a very high energy track, so he, keeping it rolling very quickly right after the Jean-Michel track. And I think this track is basically him talking about all the effort that he's put in. He talks about in the chorus how he's made $7 million without doing a show, which is very impressive because a lot of artists nowadays have to do a lot of shows to make money. Also, it's been a pandemic, so if he's making all that money without going on tour, that means that he's taking care of his business and he's making sure that he's relevant throughout this whole kind of pandemic era.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. And it's a struggle trying to keep your business alive during the pandemic. And he raps in the chorus, in addition about making $7 million without doing a single show. He talks, last night I was texting Jack Dorsey. That's the perks you get from being super dope. And now, for those that you don't know, Dorsey's actually the guy that created Twitter. So now he's like, I'm texting Twitter's founder. That's pretty fly. I got some favorite lines I got over here from that track. This is real life. Ain't no acting it. All these rapping words, they be Brad Pittin'. What do you think that means when he says Brad Pittin'? What do you think?
Well, he said I'm doing real life, not acting. So clearly he's saying that these guys are actors. Brad Pitt is a very famous actor.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was a clear cut line there. But also, what's cool about this is he comes in with this amazing visual. It has almost like a Busta Rhymes, give me some more fisheye lens effect going all in it. He has a lot of crazy graphics, CGI with the burning basketball spinning on his hands.
That was my favorite part.
It's super creative, and and I think that he's moving away from what I think is very popular in the cliche sex, drugs, rock and roll type of style that most rappers are doing right now. He ain't got 100 chains on. He ain't got a Bentley. He's just showing how artistic he is, and I love the artwork that he's doing.
Yeah, it's dope. He's definitely got creative with that video production. Lines that I liked out of that track also include, gave my little bro a quick 50 piece. He got me the whole motherfucking trap hitting. I've been stacking up all these assets. Can't be conducting any bad business. Now, I like that because one of the, things that we see is new rappers, especially young rappers that are getting a bunch of money, whether they're doing it in the hustle style from the streets, hustling, selling mixtapes, or we're talking about record deals, handing them a giant check. Now they go out in the streets, they're flashing the cash, they getting shot up, they die, unfortunately too young. This guy, he's stacking assets, right? He's looking at it from a business perspective and managing money. I like that. That's dope.
Definitely.
And those burning basketballs you talking about with the spinning basketballs on each finger, that was hot. That was dope as fuck. And then he switches up the rhythm in the last half of the verse with a breathtaking and very catchy flow, talking about my N-word, pull up in them Chevys and Bimmers. We all young and rich, you can't check my demeanor. I just bought a burger from my Aunt Regina. I've been getting money since I was a senior. And that's dope. He also talks about how he dropped the YBN, right? So he's no longer YBN Cordae, right? Because he had a split with the other members. And maybe it's more of an artist maturity thing. He wants to take the game more serious, right? That's why he's dropping the YBN.
You dropped the little, and you dropped the young. You just become who you are. He's Cordae, and that's respectable for sure.
Yeah. Then the next up track for the fourth track on this album is going to be Mama's Hood. Mama's Hood, again, we're seeing this theme that Cordae is looking back at his life, looking at the journey he's been on to get to where he is right now. And there's some dope lyrics in here. He talks about the smartest N-word who dropped out, fuck your graduation. I think that shit a fucking scam. Somebody had to say it. Caught up in the matrix. Should have had to find a way out. Lost too many N-words. Swear this shit is getting played out. Student loan forgiveness. All my debt was finally paid out. Appreciate this shit because the gutter I come straight out. The bottoms of the bottoms to the top of the tops. This is really nice, We see that trajectory a lot of rappers have of coming from the bottom, starting there, and then clawing their way up to the top. And it's always nice to see someone succeed.
And I like that he has a lot of self-reflection. It's kind of somber. He's talking about a negative event that happened in his life, whether it was a brother or a cousin, somebody that ended up getting locked up, getting in trouble. And he's riding around, he's also talking about loved ones that he's lost, and he's riding around his mama's hood, basically kind of depressed a little bit, like stressed out about what's happening in his environment and his community. He can't really figure it out. He's trying to do his best, but he's also seeing that a lot of people can't do their best. And in his music, he's trying to channel this energy that's positive more so than negative. So I like that he's reflecting already at 24.
Yeah, he's 24, and he's being that reflective. He talks about how I bring the whole city out every time they say that I'm home. How you all about the business, but don't be minding your own. I like that. Nice play on words. And MYOB, right? MYOB was dedicated to Duane Walls, who passed away. They called him Pitt. He played basketball with Cordae back in the day. So again, you have this he's got this moment where he's his outro. He's dedicated it to a homie that passed away. And it's one of those things where you can see he is going a little deeper than the surface. It's not just about the bling. It's not about the bling. Get that shit as well. But at the same time, he's taking a moment, right? Taking a moment. What's the next track that we got?
So this one is one of my preferred tracks here. Want From Me. He kind of takes a different approach here. He's doing a little bit more melodies like, what do you want from me? I'm only a man. And he's talking about the struggles of relationships as well as the struggle of just trying to figure out how to be his best self. And a lot of people have expectations, and that's a difficult thing to deal with in the world. But he's also saying that he's only capable of so much. You can't get everything from him. And he's only going to be able to do what he can do. And he's going to keep doing that. But I like the fact that he understands that people have great expectations. And he's still willing to try to deliver. But he also wants to be real with people. And he's not going to over-exaggerate about what he's capable of. And that's a very promising aspect of a young artist. Somebody who knows his limitations.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, one of those things that you got to know is when to stop. because you don't know when to stop, you end up getting shot. His beat has really nice, glossy, soulful production with a laid-back flow that just fits in with Cordae's rhythm and delivery. Really like that. This is definitely one of the standout tracks, I'm going to say, and some lyrics that I think definitely stood out to me in this track. Because, the melody is dope, but he's also talking about the duality of men and women, right? And he talks about men and women are quite different, though our vision is jaded. We originated to coexist however you play it. Woman was made from that man's rib, and that's why we can't live. You be the judge, but ain't no Uncle Phil without an Aunt Viv. Mother Nature and Father Time, moonlight and sunshine, everything's interconnected, and it's all by design. Yin and yang since the Big Bang, ain't shit changed. Sometimes I feel like Russell Wilson's. Other days, I'm Rick James. I like that. That's definitely very reflective. And on verse 2, I like the lyrics. He talks about, okay, sometimes I fantasize about life, then I analyze the missing pieces. This written thesis I can't advise. Plotting on your downfall, although I plan to rise. Life's your biggest fucking test, and this ain't standardized. Right? I like that. He goes on to talk about beware of ulterior motives, deeper desires. My whole catalog, I'm keeping the fire. My mom still go to work every day. Can't wait till she retires. I keep it real, and that's what people admire. And they ask, and then he goes straight into the hook. Nice transition for the hook. And, we care about our moms, right? And we got to make sure they're doing well. And it's just a nice universal theme here to reflect upon that can't wait till this mom retires, right?
And it's very refreshing. He's not calling women bitches, hoes, sluts, all of this very typical stuff that you hear in rap. He knows relationships are difficult, but he's willing to work on those relationships. He's willing to build. He understands that you have to try to work together to actually work together. You can't just wake up and things work. You got to put that time in. You got to put that effort in, and that's very appreciated in terms of the way he's approaching this track.
And then the 6th track we got coming up is Today with Gunna. Now, Today, it's got a signature melody that he has where he's dropping the last half of the bar, going down in his rhythm, or down in the tonalities, I should say, and it's catchy, it's nice, I like that. I don't got the time today, right? And so, money in my mind, I got grind today, right? He's got that, I like that, get that shit on delay, so he's mixing up some Spanish in there. Told my brothers, you ain't gotta worry, I'ma find a way, right? Get shit gonna line in place. Hopped off the porch too early, what my mama say. My card ain't declined today. Sun gonna shine today. So I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you've been in a store and your car has been declined. I've been there. It's not a fun experience. You feel real embarrassed, real ashamed. Other people are witnessing this moment, right? And he's putting that in the rap. I've been there. I tried to buy a suit one time from a store, and my car was declined right at the register, and I was very embarrassed in that moment. And those moments, so we come up from that, right? You make more money, stacks on stacks, right? He's talking about how he was there as well, and so I relate to that very personally.
What I like about this is going back to that 90s style that he's using, that 90s influences that he's putting Gunna, who's the more melodic artist, on the chorus instead of putting him on a verse, giving him a chance to shine there and really taking over the verses, being the true MC that he is, and not trying to do what Gunna's doing. Basically, let Gunna do the singing, and then I'm going to come in on the verses. And that's definitely something that I feel like is missing a lot of hip-hop nowadays. You basically have a lot of rappers that are trying to sing as well. It doesn't always work for everybody. No. He knows what his lane is. He does a little bit of melody, but he's not really a melodic artist, and he knows that. So he's bringing in some variation by bringing in a melodic artist on the hook, and I like that.
Agreed. It's nice. He also goes up and talks about, he raps later on about eating free lunch and rolling dice, and it's just the imagery there, and it's something I relate to as well growing up, right?
Absolutely.
So love that shit. What's the next track we got?
So we have an interlude. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Then we go into C. Carter, which is short for Coach Carter. This is a very reminiscent track. He's talking about how back in the day when, he was watching that movie and dreaming of all the things that he was going to have. He talked about before in the project how he was a hooper. And a lot of people have hoop dreams that don't really pan out and they become artists. That doesn't also pan out for everybody. But for him, it did, right? He took everything that he did seriously. And it seems like he was able to translate this passion that he had for his life into the music that he's making. And it's a cool track. I don't know if it's my favorite track on here, but none of these tracks are bad. Let's say that. Like
no skip tracks.
The whole project is good through and through. He made sure to bring something on each track that's unique, and this one's the same vibe.
So if you look at some of the things people have been talking about with Cordae and a lot of the music critics out there, he's been compared a lot to different artists. Some of them might be Nas, maybe some of them might be J. Cole. Some people have been saying he's the new J. Cole, but I think this is kind of his impersonation of J. Cole track with C. Carter, and I think he falls a little short, right? It's a nice track. I don't dislike it. It's dope, but at the same time, I think he's trying to reach here for that J. Cole vibe, but doesn't quite have that J. Cole magic. And so I think that was, but I still got some nice lines in here that I really like, just based on my own struggles, right? He's got that nostalgic feel, got that downward pitch at the end of his rhymes, at the end of the bar, and he talks about my fate bleeds and creates seeds that eventually blossom to trees. Get rid of all that extra shit I thought I would need. Put your head on a swivel with my heart on a sleeve, right? Real nice stuff. And so, yeah, I would say that. What's the next track we got coming up?
So we got Sinister featuring Lil Wayne. We just talked about a Lil Wayne feature on the Weeknd's project. This one's definitely superior. Also, we have Hit Boy on production. He comes in and he does his Nas impersonation here. And I definitely think Lil Wayne did a great feature on here. I'm not necessarily saying this is any more one of my favorite tracks, but it does have a video as well if you want to check that out. But he comes in and, Hit Boy is great, right? Like, if you are a MC, you're lyrical, Hit Boy's gonna fit right in with what you're trying to do, and you could definitely tell that he was ready to spit some bars on here. You want to lay out some of those things that you heard on this track?
Definitely.
Sinister track?
Oh, definitely. So the Sinister track is the lead single off this album. We got the whole music video, very choreographed, very nice, right? So Cordae is in this classroom. He's walking through a high school. You see like papers, some like grades of tests and stuff like that strewn all over the ground, and maybe turned over trash cans or something like that. He goes into the classroom. He's like coming up with his professor look, and he's coming in front of a whole classroom of people, and is really, I love how the choreography links up with the lyrics. He says, "Yeah, I'll write my flow is sinister. This ain't rap music. This is straight literature." And as he's rapping that, people are taking notes in the class and writing it down. I'm like, oh man, that's nice. That's a nice effect. He talks about how they tend to hate on you when they can't get rid of you. I ain't going nowhere. 20-year career minimum. And that's pretty fly. He talks, called Hit Boy for beats, asked for 10 of them, but actually only got one for this album. But at the same time,
hopefully he got some more coming.
Yeah, I don't follow trends. I swing the pendulum. Now that's dope. That's dope. If the bitch bad, good dick shit, I'ma give her some. One of the things I like about this is again, you've this reflective theme throughout the album. Cordae then talks about his family and discusses aspects there. Growing up, shit, I really had beef with my father, but why bother explaining my feelings? Try harder, but either way, they're gonna paint you the villain. Definitely had situations like that with family beef, right? No matter what you're doing, you're the villain, right? This narrative that's been running on, I can relate to that. And he goes back to talking about poverty, right? 8 months with no phone, dog. We ain't aiming for brilliance. High level maintain in the building. We making a killing. Now, he's making this presentation. Cordae is, in front of the class. And then he introduces Lil Wayne. He's like, all right, Lil Wayne, bring him in. Lil Wayne comes up in his impersonation of like a professor and starts to make a presentation, which I haven't seen Lil Wayne do in this manner before. I really like that. And he's got his bars, right? Lil Wayne is the punchline king. He's got all types of one-liners in there. And one of the things he's talking about is many men gonna need ministers. I'm amending them. Enemies, I'm the enema. I'm a shit on them. But
only Wayne could get away with that.
Yeah,
that's solid.
No,
solid.
No. But so then what's surprising for me is that Lil Wayne talks about philosophy, right? And then he actually gets a little deeper and reflective. I haven't heard this out of Lil Wayne. He's trying to match the vibe that Cordae is laying down for this album, and I have not heard that, right? And so it's dope when he talks about being a little contemplative, right? Lil Wayne raps, skating underneath the bridge, stay hustling as it is, make money, feed the kids, ain't nothing in the fridge, wake up, repeat the sins, 8 blunts, I need 10, stay muddy to the lid, 800, eat a dick, right? He's still got the punchlines, but he's talking about like, skating hating as a kid and struggling for money, no food in the fridge, right? He's talking about going through these struggles, matching that reflective vibe that Cordae's got. I like that. I like that he switched it up for there a little bit, right? So that's dope.
This is a good Wayne feature.
Yeah. What's the next track we got coming up?
So then we have Chronicles featuring H.E.R and Lil Durk. So then we're slowing it down here. Of course, you got H.E.R and Lil Durk coming in with a lot more melody. And I think that the vibe is what you would expect with this type of track. I'm not necessarily saying this is a standout, but it is a great track. It's a great feature. I'm sure a lot of people might like this. This might be their top track in their list because Lil Durk obviously has been on a tear. H.E.R is also an awesome artist. What are some of the moments that you liked on this track?
Yeah. Well, so like the beat itself, right? You switching it up a little bit. We have a lot of boom bap sounds with, Hit Boy on the previous track. And then we got homegrown producers that I think are growing up with Cordae coming up with him as he's coming up. And a lot of those beats are very, very, very boom bap-ish. And I like it. It's dope. It's got that 90s feel. Here we have more of a softer R&B style with the guitar hand picking going on, creating this ambient texture in this background. And for I would say even for Cordae's verses here, he doesn't sound like he's rapping as much. He sounds more on that kind of gray area. And speaking of gray areas, we got H.E.R coming in on verses here. And H.E.R, who was recently Grammy nominated, she's got that interesting blend where she's like this perfect mixture between rapping and singing, right? It's not always one or the other. It's a blend of the both, but she makes it work, and it's dope. And so I think really Lil Durk was the only one on this track that came through with something that I felt was closer to rap. But he's got the auto-tune in his voice on this track as well, so it blends in with the melody, smooth transitions between the verses and the hooks, and I think it's dope. Some of the lyrics that Cordae was talking about that I thought would stand out to me was crazy when we first met, we was lost souls, but I know I gotta grow. I lace my bitch in the best, give her designer sex. If I fucked up, sorry, here's 50 racks for the stress. Not easy to impress, always wonder what's next. I go as deep as I can to make her shake like Tourette's. So, but it's like delivered in this like real smooth R&B laid back style, but he's still bringing the punchlines, which I think is dope, and H.E.R brings a nice pre-chorus coming up, and then they do a duet with H.E.R as well. I think it's also dope how H.E.R actually has this kind of singing outro talking about diamond necklace. I don't need a diamond necklace, right? It's a smooth track. Now, for me, a little too slow for my tastes. Maybe if I'm romancing a girl, we got some Candlelight up and she's a fan of hip-hop, I'll put this on, but definitely not going to be my go-to tracks from this album when I want to replay Cordae's excellent showmanship and flossing, right? So the next track we have coming up is the 11th track called Champagne Glasses featuring Freddie Gibbs. Now, if you haven't seen our Scary Gary episode of Freddie Gibbs and his beef with DJ Academics, you can check it up here in the corner of the screen. Go view that right now. That was pretty popping when that happened. But Freddie Gibbs is on the second verse of this track. And guess who we got on harmonica on this track? The one and only
Stevie Wonder.
Crazy.
And when I saw that, I was like, this kid is way too... Stevie Wonder is 71 now, right? So you can definitely tell he grew up in a household with that on. That's very traditional black music, of course. But the fact that he went and got Stevie Wonder to do the harmonica on it, and the production is so beautiful across the entire track. You have Cordae rapping about the champagne glasses, but it's kind of this celebration that's going on around him. And I like that because he's talking about the fact that everybody's toasting. He's like, yeah, they're having a good time, but he's thinking about his next move because he knows that this moment, it could be short-lived, right? If he's not going to keep working on what he's working on to get more of this, people won't be having these toasts in his honor.
Yeah, I think you got some good points in that because it's not like you just get one break and then everything else is going to be automatically paved in gold for you. You got to keep working for that. You got to keep hustling. You got to keep your game strategy on, get your business acumen up, not just make one hit. That's your wonder. That's all you got. We've seen plenty of one-hit wonders come and go. And where are they now? Who's heard a track from Lunas? besides I Got 5 on it, can you name another track? Now, as you may have heard from other podcasts that you've listened to, because I know you're a diehard fan of From the Jump, Mr. White grew up living in the projects, getting out of there till making good money, raising a family, right? I grew up living on the streets. I didn't have a lot of, help or support. Family members of mine dealt drugs. I had to deal with all that kind of stuff growing up. So for me, I really resonate when rappers talk about stuff they have to go through that along the lines that I went through. So he's talking about that, being 15, having to go through some shit. He's talking about his uncle also rolling it with a stolen rollie and having to deal with a prison mindset, but still wanting to exceed that, not be defined by the past, and let that be the ceiling for the future that he can ascend to. And I love that stuff on there. So some of the beat on this was also really matched well. You got some nice piano keys playing, but the piano also has this kind of interesting vibrato, making it this old-timey sound with some synth drops for some transitions here and there. Really fits the texture and the mood of this beat. And he's talking about conversations getting complicated. I could tell you, 15, I was in them handcuffs with paraphernalia. Grew up in the trenches, boy, your house had a wine cellar. If anyone ever had a problem, gave him hell. I got my auntie, brother's daddy, cousin backstage passes. Everybody celebrating with the champagne glasses, right? And so that's, I like that stuff. And he's talking about his uncle when he says, was type rare, and if the shoe fits, I'll buy the right pair. But shit be getting worse by the second, I'm guessing. Put a smile upon my face, cause life all about perception. Tell my N-word that I'm happy, happiness manifesting, even though it's quite the opposite, but shit, I'm digressing. That's
and then, of course, we got Stevie coming in with a beautiful harmonica that matches the pace and the cadence of the beat. I mean, it was seamless. I wasn't sure exactly where Stevie was going to fit on the track, but he did, right? And it's important when you're trying to be a artist that has a longevity that you keep that musicality. Like, he understands that he's trying to be a legend, or he's trying to have musical elements that bring people back to tracks, right? I probably will come back to Champagne Glasses.
Me too, for the first verse. But so
what you got? What we got next?
Well, I also wanted to say that it's just kind of remarkable that this kid probably grew up listening to Stevie Wonder. Now he's got Stevie Wonder on a track.
Yeah,
right. If that's not a sign this guy's gonna grow and he's gonna do some shit. So next up we got Westlake High. Now Westlake is probably a high school in God knows probably 30 states because everyone's got a Westlake High School. Everyone's got like
I almost thought he was from Austin for a second. I was like, did he spend some time? No, he's from North Carolina. So I was like, nah, he's not from Austin.
From the NC. So Westlake High, he's talking about got some nice singing on the beat for the background of that, and then you got more boom bap as Cordae comes through talking about MLK and the split path where different choices could have been made. Right? He's talking about we're at that crossroads where things could have been different. And that's definitely a theme that we see. And a lot of rappers are like, I could have died that day if this hadn't happened, if that hadn't happened. And he's talking about, if only Father Time had the patience of Mother Nature. If only I was wiser when I first discovered paper. I wish I was wiser when I first discovered paper. If only Martin Luther never stayed at the Lorraine Hotel, shit, he'd still be alive and well. So who knows how the world would be different if Martin Luther King still lived.
Yeah. No, and
he's 24.
It's very crazy that he's even thinking about stuff like that. He even cares about where the world could be if people make better decisions. And the reason why I think he's going back and talking about Westlake High specifically, because it seems like he's a bit removed from high school at this point, but he's also talking about the fact that a lot of times the decisions that people end up making in high school can impact them for the rest of their lives. He's saying that this is the reality of the world because a lot of people aren't taking their lives seriously and they're not reflecting and they're not trying to move forward. They get stuck in that high school vibe, like the guys who were the quarterback of that championship state team. They might be working at the grocery store as a manager or something like that.
And like many women, they peaked in high school. So there was nothing after that.
Nothing.
But the bars that Mr. White is talking about that I really like he says, I went to Westlake High where death rates rise. So obviously there's some shit going on in the high school. I saw kids getting thrown through windows in my high school. We had shootings in the neighborhood. Like, shit was fucked up. So I relate to that. And some people go on to waste the rest of their lives. I go back every now and then to check their vibes. The rest of my classmates work in tech-based jobs. I just bought a Range Rover and did a song with Nas. So whoever that high school bully was to Cordae, if he had one, he did a song with Nas, bro. Where you at? So
Yeah.
that's obviously one of his influences when he's got, not necessarily a Nas flow, but definitely Nas subject matter. And I would say that's dope. What's the next track we got up?
That's Parables with Eminem on it.
One and
I think
only.
this song came out before, and then he put Eminem on it and put it on the album in this manner. This song is super lyrical, and he's not shying away from trying to bar it out completely through. And he definitely believes that, once again, his words are more philosophy. They're more like literature than it's just a rapper just saying things that rhyme. And he comes in and he's lighting it up through the track. I mean, you're kind of like, all right, how's Eminem going to come on this beat? Because Cordae is putting his best stuff out there.
Yep.
Now, of course, M's going to come and meet the challenge. But a lot of what Cordae is talking about, he's like, I could tell you about the time. I could tell you this. I could tell you about how I had to put people in their place, how I had to knock somebody down their rank. I could tell you about how he was off that drink. I could tell you, So he understands that he's actually been through the struggle, unlike other people who might just have seen it from a bird's eye view, right?
From a bird's eye view. They're looking at the projects in the streets. Oh, this looks like something I could pretend to write about.
Yes.
But for this one, it's very interesting because Cordae is challenging the norm, challenging the stereotypes about what a rap song should or shouldn't be. He's got 2 straight verses in a row.
Yep.
We got a hook that sounds like a verse. Then Eminem comes on. So he's doing 2 verses, 3-verse song. Gotta be brave now, post ATL trap era. 8-bar verses, right? No, he's not doing that. He's coming up strong with some lyrics, and he's talking about, done see some shit within my lifetime. My light shine bright. Protect your energy from poison when the python strike. My first mistake was doing robberies on Nikon bikes. Watch my moves, and I'm going to show you what an icon like. And then Eminem comes up, right, with some interesting... One of the things I've noticed about the features that Eminem is doing, like King's Disease feature, right, Eminem, and he coming up with like multiple switch-ups in the same verse, multiple switch-ups. So Eminem begins with this kind of like more melodic introduction, which is interesting, then switches it up to more of a staccato flow with his bars, right, where he's breaking off real abruptly. And after that, his verse goes real slow. Now Eminem is rapping like he did when he first came out, when he was doing it real slow. People could understand his lyrics. He got a mass appeal for slowing it down. And then he ends the verse with some super, super, super fast rapping. It just goes off. And then, interestingly enough, again, breaking the formula, Eminem just ends the whole song. And there's no hook, there's no outro. Eminem just drops a bar about how his mom was finding stuff around the house to wrap up his presents and put under the tree. Just random shit.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing. But the whole song is basically talking about the struggle. So it matched very well, and I think Eminem did a great job on this feature. And Cordae's getting Eminem features, and once again, just showing his prowess already, because you got a feature from Wayne, you got a feature from Durk and Gunna, and you got a feature from Eminem. So he's bringing all of these generations of rappers together that you wouldn't necessarily see all on one album. I love that.
Well, he was, Grammy nominated with his Bad Idea track off Lost Boy with, Chance the Rapper. So he's already coming out swinging, pulling no punches for this kind of stuff. I think one of my favorite moments as far as like the song with Eminem on this track, because, Eminem, we know his style. I don't know if I'll call Eminem reflective. He's more like talking shit reflective. Like it's like his whole style from the very beginning is biographical. Yeah. But I don't know if that would be reflective necessarily.
Well, he goes in and out of it, right? Like I think that third album where Eminem show, he kind of got a little crazy, and then he kind of lost his way until he came back with the Recovery Project, where it was kind of too reflective. I think people always can't really figure out where to place Eminem, because he can either get really crazy or maybe too soft, and I don't like Eminem singing at all. Like he can leave that behind.
Ever try to sing.
But that's fine. I mean, he is able to do what he wants to do because he approaches his art with a high level of skill.
He's a GOAT. That's why you're gonna see there's no interviews with Eminem where he explains how he raps. You will never see a single interview where Eminem breaks down bar for bar what his style is and how he raps. Other rappers have done this. You can look it up.
He doesn't have just one style.
Yeah, he doesn't.
That's the thing.
Some of the bars that I like in there, because we know who the biggest snitch in the industry is he says, "So I treat a beat like it's Tekashi, spit on that bitch like Meek Mill." My addiction got me weak-willed. I'm relapsing, referred to as I'm relapse. I think I can't seem to stop eating beat pills. And Dr. Dre, he still keeps on giving me refills. And then, this is the closest we can say I've seen Eminem come to getting reflective instead of just biographically shit-talking, as he talks about, "We're telling you about the food stamps and the government cheese, and how we used to get school lunches for free. I already told you about the holes in my pony shoes and rustler jeans when it was my mother, little brother, but me," right? And of course you got that nice end rhymes as well as the end of the bar rhymes where it's just super smooth flowing. Now what do we got for the very last track of this? What do we got for the last track of the album? What's the last track?
This one is Gifted with Roddy Ricch. And personally I feel like one of Roddy Ricch's last good songs. He just dropped
good songs.
Well, he just dropped the album. Well, no, he just dropped the album that is pretty lackluster. A lot of people weren't really feeling it, especially as his sophomore follow-up. Whereas you have Cordae, his sophomore follow-up's solid. We're talking about it right now. I really like it. I'm going to come back to this project.
Definitely.
Gonna have several songs on my playlist. But he takes Roddy Ricch in the same way that he took Gunna, and they're kind of like going back and forth on the track. And Cordae's doing his melodic thing, but not as melodic as Roddy Ricch. And he's talking about how people didn't believe in him when he was trying to come up, and he's basically saying that he doesn't care about how people feel about what he's doing. Like, he believed in his dream, and he kept pushing it forward because he knew he had the talent. And that's the whole mantra of this Gifted song that he's coming with. It also has a video with Cole Bennett, who does Lyrical Lemonade. He's very popular for breaking artists with very hot songs. You can go back and look through a list of Lyrical Lemonade tracks, and pretty much every one of them is a hit. And he's not wasting his time with trash stuff. He's trying to make every song great.
He's not on a track with Tekashi 6ix9ine.
No.
So one of the things I like about this track, I think it definitely has. So Roddy Ricch has got more of a melodious flow. It's great for an outro, and so it's nice to end the track like that. When you look at our album reaction for DaBaby's project, On My Baby Jesus Shit Again, you can see his outro track not quite as good, right? This has got a nice kind of leaving it. All right, let's wrap it up, pull it full circle. Yes, we're going to go to the reflective stuff again. We got Roddy Ricch adding those smooth vibes, to wrap up the project. Also, we got an interplay, a back and forth between Roddy Ricch and Cordae, so that it's not just verses traded with verses. This is quite they're together on this, making it mix with the rapping as well as the kind of singing R&B style as well. And some of the stuff I like on that, the hook itself I thought was pretty dope with, "I met Shorty and we connected like the Wi-Fi. Hopped in the Phantom, disappeared like voila." That's pretty dope. I don't hear voila in raps. I hear voila, but I hear voila as often in raps, and that's dope. And of course, the imagery there, talking about connecting with a girl like Wi-Fi, and then hopping in the Phantom, right? That's pretty dope. And then bars that I also like that Cordae was rapping. He says, "I was down below, word to Roddy Ricch. We was slap boxing, no Karate Kid." And also, big body whips like H.E.R. No credit check, straight cash card. No stress, I progress. That's most deaf like Black Star.
Ooh, that was a hot line right there. So
then you again see this reference to a 90s era. You see the reference to his influences. He's not shy about it. He's not holding
He's a
back.
student of the game, and that is something to be appreciated. A lot of artists nowadays are like, "Oh, who's Tupac?" It's like, why would you even say that? Like, chill, just go. If you don't want to be in the house of hip hop, that's fine. Like, but for people who do understand why these artists are credible and deserve to be in the game, then I really appreciate somebody who can pay homage to the old school, because
the new rappers that come out that diss the old school, their influences were by rappers who were influenced by the old school, and they wouldn't even have got there in the first place.
Exactly.
So, that's not to be thought. But it's time for our album report card, right? We're going to talk about what we feel was dope about this, what our rating is on an ABCC scale. And we're going to start off with production and beats. Now, I don't think we have to belabor the point. While there was some dope beats here, and we do have Hit Boy on one of those tracks, it's like a B. I wouldn't even say a B+. I would say it's a solid B for this. It's not bad beats. It matches the mood and temper, but it's not something I would listen to standalone for instrumentals like a Kanye.
I would agree. It's a B. He has a lot of homegrown stuff with his homie that he came up with. I can appreciate that.
For the next criteria for album report card that we judge albums on is going to be standout moments. Now, I definitely have my standout moments that I'm happy to share. You want to go first? You want me to go first? Because there's some nice standout moments on the track.
Well, I like the What Do You Want From Me track. I feel like that was definitely good. I think, I also like Champagne Glasses. That was one of my favorites. And then I also like Gifted. I think that all three of those tracks kind of sum up what the project was about. Just the energy that was there in all of those tracks. A lot of reflection, a lot of personal growth this journey that he's on. Even as a young person, he understands he has to do a lot more if he wants to build that longevity. So overall, like I say, there's nothing bad on this project. It's very listenable.
No skip tracks. I would say standout moments for me. I say Super. That track is a standout moment by itself because that's definitely a great example of his skill, his artistry coming through both in the production of the music video as well as in the bars that I thought were pretty hot. That was dope. I like the Want From Me track as well. That was definitely a big standout moment. The beat was dope, and also just a reflection of men and women's role together. Right, it's pretty deep for someone 24 to go into. Not about I'm gonna smack a bitch, I'm gonna get the hose right. Not that you can't do that as well and still have personal growth, but in this case, like he's going deeper. He's going deeper, and I like it. It's refreshing. I think we've had so much of the surface level, flossing, and it's dope in doses, but he's switching it out. I think we've had throughout the 2010s to 2020s, we've had a saturation of stuff like that, and so it's less formulaic. It's doper in that sense, and I would say my other standout moment on Sinister, like I don't feel like he was doing his job. I think Cordae could have brought it a little hotter on Sinister with Lil Wayne. So Champagne Glasses is going to be another standout moment for me. That track, that reflected the storytelling, all that was dope. And for the album report card's last criteria, what is the album's weight class? How does this stand out and measure up to other albums in its category? Now, Cordae's been compared to J. Cole. I would say he's not quite there yet. It's a sophomore album. He's trying to come up. I think this is not quite what we were expecting from Cordae. He didn't quite deliver on the skillmanship and the artistry that I feel, the level of genius that he's capable of. He got close. It's a dope album, but I would say this is middleweight,
I'm also going to go with middleweight here. He has more to offer, and if he's saying he's going to be in the game for 20 years, I like to see what he comes out with. He definitely has a puncher's chance of getting up to a higher weight class, but right now, he's doing solid. It was solid. This is very listenable all the way through, and I want to see what he can do later. I'm not going to give him anything higher because I know he has more in him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where his left hook's going to come in and have a knockout because I know he's capable of it. Whatever the next level of Cordae is, I think he's going to get there, and we're going to see it happen. Is he the next Nas? Is he the next J. Cole? I can't say yet. I would say, Nas was already hitting when he was 24, already putting down hits, but he's the exception. I think Cordae is on his way in his path there. Do you disagree? Do you think that we got any of our ratings wrong for this album or for these tracks? What was your favorite Cordae track? Do you think he's going to blow up? Please comment below, like and subscribe, and definitely tune in next time for another episode of From the Jump.
Peace.